Hello everyone. Today I'm going to read two fun stories by Sudha Murthy. So let's start with the first one, The Cunning Fruit. Udanka was a rich merchant with a vast business in North India. He had traveled all over the country and had seen many amazing sights during his travels. One day his son Bhanuvarma said to him, "Father, you have seen so many new places. I have seen nothing. I am very keen to see the sea you described to me. Please let me go to the seaside." Udanka thought it was a good idea too and made arrangements for his son to travel to a South Indian town by the seashore, where he could stay with one of Udanka's friends. Thus Bhanuvarma landed up in a town by the sea. His father's friend greeted him warmly and gave him a nice room in their house. The next day Bhanuvarma set off to see the town. As he walked in the bazaar, he saw a man selling jackfruit. Now Bhanuvarma had seen apples, oranges, mangoes, even jamuns, but jackfruit was something he had never set eyes upon. What a strange shape it had, and what a sweet smell! "How do you eat this?" he asked the man selling it. "Cut it, eat the fruit, and throw away the seed," replied the man. When Bhanuvarma heard that one big fruit cost only 2 annas, he was delighted and bought one. He carried it up to his room and proceeded to cut it open. He ate and ate the sweet fruit. It was like honey. Finally, when he was done, he realized that the gum from the jackfruit had made his hands all sticky. To get rid of the sticky gum, he wiped his hand on his dress, but that only made his dress sticky. He then tried washing his hands with water, but the gum remained. He slapped his head in despair, and now his face too became sticky. Then he remembered there was a sack of cotton kept outside his door. He crept out quietly and tried to wipe his hands and face with the cotton, but he only managed to cover himself with cotton which now stuck fast onto his hand and face. The more cotton he used, the more it stuck to him. Feeling ashamed, he went to the backyard, where he knew a pot of hot water was kept. By then it was evening, and his host was calling him in for dinner. Not wanting to appear before him in that state, Bhanuvarma hid behind a tree. The people of the house called out for him for some time. Then, thinking he must still be out somewhere, they took the vessel of hot water inside and shut the door. Bhanuvarma looked this way and that. There was only the sheep shed now for him to sleep in. He went there and lay down among the sheep. That night some thieves came to steal the sheep. When they saw Bhanuvarma covered in cotton, they thought he was the biggest sheep of all and carried him away. Poor Bhanuvarma dared not open his mouth to shout. At last, when they reached the outskirts of the town, they put him down. One close look at him and they fled, taking him to be a ghost. Bhanuvarma stood by the roadside, wondering what to do. A milkmaid who was walking by saw the young man covered in cotton and asked him what had happened. When he told her, she laughed for the long time. Then she said, "You must always rub oil on your hands before you eat jackfruit. Otherwise, the gum will stick to your hands and neither water nor cotton will take it off." She was very kind and took him to her house, where she gently removed all the cotton and the gum. Then Bhanuvarma set off back to town. After some weeks, when he came home, Udanka asked him, "So what did you see? And what did you learn?" Bhanuvarma sighed and said, "Father, I saw many strange sights, learnt many new things. But the biggest lesson I learnt was, whatever you do, never eat a jackfruit. It is the most cunning fruit of all." The second story is The Very Expensive Coconut. Chandrakant was a miser. He hated spending money on anything, and his wife was tired of his stingy ways. One day Chandrakant went to a wedding. There he was served coconut burfi. Chandrakant felt he had never tasted anything so good and decided he wanted another one. He went back home and asked his wife to make him one. His wife looked at him and said, "You hardly give me enough money to cook dal and rice. How will I make burfis? Go and buy a coconut at least, and then I will make burfi for you." So Chandrakant set off for the market. he saw a man sitting by the roadside with a heap of coconuts. He selected one and asked, "How much is this for?" The man, who knew Chandrakant and his miserly ways well, like everyone else in the bazaar, said, "5 rupees." Chandrakant nearly fainted when he heard this. 5 rupees for a coconut? Seeing his face, the shopkeeper said, "Walk ahead. You will come to a coconut grove and 10 kilometers from here, and there you will get coconuts for 3 rupees." Chandrakant thought this was a wonderful idea. What if he had to walk 10 kilometers? He would save 2 full rupees. So he walked, and after an hour reached the grove. When he saw the coconuts, he felt that even 3 rupees was very high price for them and asked the gardener, "Will you give it to me for 1 rupee?" The gardener was busy. Without looking around, he said, 10 kilometers from here, there is another coconut grove. There you can get it for 1 rupee. He would save 2 rupees more. Chandrakant set off at once. Tired, he reached the next coconut grove. But when he saw the coconuts, he felt like haggling again and asked the gardener, "Will you give me the coconut for 50 paise?" The gardener was upset. "Walk 10 kilometers further and you will reach the seashore where there are many coconut trees. Just pluck one, you will get it for free." Free? Chandrakant would walk to the end of earth to get anything for free. He walked and finally reached the seashore. Sure enough, there were rows of trees with coconuts hanging from them. Anybody could just climb up and take one. Chandrakant started climbing. Up and up he went. On the highest treetop, he grabbed a delicious looking coconut. Just then, a gust of wind shook the tree and he lost his hold. He held on to the coconut for dear life. "Help!" he shouted. A man came by on an elephant. When he saw Chandrakant hanging on to the coconut, he went up to the tree. Chandrakant begged him, "Sir, will you stand on the elephant and hold my legs so that I can get down?" The Mahout said, "I'm in a hurry, but if you give me 100 rupees, I will do it." 100 rupees? But Chandrakant would break his bones. If he remained there, he would have to pay up. He agreed sadly. The man stood on his elephant and grabbed his legs. But just then, the elephant moved away and both of them were left hanging there. Chandrakant was even more worried. Then they saw a horseman and both of them begged, "Will you stand on the horse and hold our feet so that we can get down?" The horseman said, "Only if you give me 1,000 rupees." There was no other way out, so Chandrakant agreed. But when the man grabbed their feet, the horse got scared and galloped away. Everyone fell in a heap. Of bunch of coconuts fell on them. They broke their bones and Chandrakant had to pay 1,000 rupees for their treatment. And all because he would not pay 5 rupees for a coconut.